So at the top of the page here, we have the 8 distinct landform regions. I have a map that shows those regions and then the cross section that we worked on for the Unit 2 Summative. So you are going to need to pick 2 landform regions in Canada that would be a good place for your company to locate. So in this document here, I have included the business and the landform regions that could be good for that business. So you'll notice for Dark Star Farms, Great Lakes St. Lawrence lowlands, and the interior plains could be a good potential for that location. So if I go back to my document here, I would place those 2 landform regions names here in this box. Then it says, why would these make a good location? And if I go back to my table resource here, you can see that over on the far side, it says why the landform region would be a good location. So big cities, fresh produce, that's food. They need year-round indoor resources. So there will be something here that will indicate why that's a good location. Then what you need to do is think of a landform region that would not work. This would not be a good location for your business. For example, if we look at the map here or think about these regions, if I was the topic Frida's French Fry Factorium, would locating in the Arctic be a good place? Probably not. All right. If I was the Glacier Expeditions, which needs glaciers to be part of their thing, locating where there are no glaciers, probably not a good situation. So that would be an example of a region that would not work. And then you need to give a reason for that. All right. This location would not be good because there are no glaciers, or I can't grow crops, or so I just need a simple explanation to why. Now, if you want another resource, I have a map here under just above the table there. And this will take you to a map that shows the landform regions of Canada. And it will also show major cities in Canada once it loads. It takes a minute for that to load. There it is. So here are the landform regions. So if you need to kind of look at where these are located, then you have that as another resource. So on this document, I have incorporated in here the Canadian climate regions. So I have a map of where they're located and the descriptions that talk about these regions. So if you go back to the location data sheet, you will see that climate region is one of the headings. And it will show you 2 climate regions that would be good for the location of that business. For example, Dark Star Indoor Farms. And the climate regions for that would be southeastern or prairie. So on your document, down here, it says identify 2 climate regions that would work for your company. So you're going to list those 2 there. And then what I would do is read the information for the 2 regions. So for example, Mine says Southeastern and Prairie. So I would put the one here, Southeastern, and then the next one I would put below it. And I have to explain why it would have good conditions. So if I look up here for Southeastern, it shows that it has cool winters, warm summers, it's a low latitude, and it has medium precipitation. So that would make it a good location for for that industry. And then the other one I think was the Prairie. In this case, it has hot summers and cold winters. It's it's dry and so on. So that would be examples here. The next one is identify a region that would not work. So think of your business. What would be a region that would not work? For example, if I was Glacier Expeditions, so this is designed to go out and look at the glaciers, I would probably not want to be in the interior plains, sorry, the prairie, because there's no glaciers there. Or if I'm trying to grow fruits, a place that I probably wouldn't want to be in would be the Arctic because it's too cold and it's too dry. So look for a region that would not work and use the information provided here to help you with an explanation as to why it would not work. All right, so the next step is to create a climate graph, then use data to analyze your climate graph. So what you need to do is to go back to the location table, find your business, and where it says closest city, select one of these two cities. So what this means is it's the major city in the landform region that matches your climate region, and there will always be two. You can see there's a comma in between, so don't get confused or use it as the same name. So what you can do is double click on one of those names, Control C to copy. All right, go back to your document here, and where it says click here for climate graph data, click on that link. And it's going to take you to this Government of Canada website. We want to select the 1971 to 2000 tab. So there's several tabs with date ranges. This one here has, even though it's a bit older, has the most complete data set for all of these cities that we're using. So if I click on that tab, 1971 to 2000, and I scroll down slightly, you will see that there is a box here, search by station name. So a climate station is a place where we collect climate data. And if you copy the name of your station, you can paste it into the window and it will show up there. And it's really important that the name is correct because it's looking for the particular name and then say go. So when you click that go button, it's going to give you a list of places that has the name of the city that you chose. Now, for my city of Toronto, there are all of these stations that they collect data in. Your city may only have one or two locations, or what we'll be looking for are two descriptors. So this symbol here, INT apostrophe LA, means international airport. So they collect data at airports. The other one here might just be a letter A. So this is a major airport. this is a minor airport. You can choose either of those types, or if it just strictly says your city, you can pick that one as well. Any of these, if you look at the latitude and longitude, you could see they're all within a very close. So they're all really in that same location. So it doesn't really matter. So when you click on the link, it will immediately take you to the climate graph for that station. So we're going to do a screenshot of this. So you go down to the bottom right-hand corner, select screen capture, and I'm going to highlight the graph. And this is where I like to use the enter button, because sometimes when you mouse over graphs like these, it actually have little pop-ups. So if you hit the enter button, I'm just going to take off the lower part right here, like that, hit the enter button. It's going to copy that to the clipboard. Then I'm going to go back, and where it says insert graph below, Control V, and that will paste it onto the graph. So the next step is to do the analysis. So we're going to fill in this table from the data and then determine which type of climate it is. So if we are on our station, so if I just kind of find my place again, and Toronto, and down below the graph, you'll see a box here called View Data Table. You click on that. And if you scroll down a little bit, you will see the data appearing. This is divided into temperature information and precipitation information. We're first going to look at temperature. And the first part is to calculate the temperature range. And we want that number to be able to put there. So if we look at the first row here, temperature range is calculated by taking the warmest temperature and subtract the coldest temperature. So my warmest temperature here is 22.2, and my coldest temperature is negative 4.2. So if I open up a new window here, whoops. If I open up a window and I put 22.2 subtract bracket negative, and I have to read my number again, 4.2 and bracket, it will tell me what the range is. So there's my formula, 22.2 subtract bracket negative 4.2 bracket equals, and then it'll tell me what the answer is. So that's all you have to do. You can use that as your way of doing that calculation. If I hit enter at this point, it would show me the value there, 26.4. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to write in this box 26.4 degrees Celsius. So that is here in this area there. What I'm going to do is to determine what type of temperature range it has. It's either going to be large or small. And if I look up here, it says that if the temperature range is less than 25 degrees Celsius, it would be small range. If it's greater than 25 degrees Celsius, it would be a large range. So 26 is greater than 25, so that means that I have a large temperature range. So I can copy the large and paste it here. And the other blank that I'm going to fill in here would be the name of my city. So mine was Toronto. So we've started off here by now saying that Toronto has a large temperature range, and I've put in the values here that I calculated by taking the warmest temperature, subtracting the coldest temperature. So the next step, we are going to read the precipitation value, and this would be the total accumulation for the year. So if I leave the temperature area, scroll down, I will see precipitation. And the value line that we're looking for is overall precipitation, and the overall is a combination of rainfall and snowfall. So I look across the row and I see that the last column here is year and the value is 834. So I'm looking for precipitation. So that's this row. And I'm looking for the year total. These are each month. And then this is the sum of all of the months. So that value is 834. So I go back to my sheet, and in this box, I write 834, and that unit is millimeters. So I need to determine whether my 834 is greater than or less than 1,000. So I ask myself, is it greater than or is it less than? So in this case, which one would it be? 834 is less than 1,000 millimeters. So I have the two parameters that I need now to determine the type of climate. It's either going to be maritime climate, continental climate, or modified continental climate. So I look at my parameters and see how it fits into here. So the first one is that I have a large temperature range. And the second parameter is that I have less than 1,000 millimeters of precipitation. So up on the top here, I'm looking for where it says large range. So these two both say large, but I'm looking for the words that say less than 1,000. So this over here says less than. So to back this up, my temperature range is greater than 25 and the precipitation is less than 1,000. So that means that it is a continental type of climate. So I can copy and paste that down here. So the next steps is to work on natural resources. So I have a list of resources here that are important to Canada. And I also have the landform regions of Canada with the landform region name and important resources in those areas. You go back to the location table, you will see that there is two areas here, resources and rocks and minerals. And these are the resources that are important to your business. So you want to make sure that you look for these. And the question, and these are some other ones that are here, and it says, describe the two most important natural resources for your area. So these are those resources. And I also have a link here that explains what a non-renewable and renewable resource is and for examples. So you're going to put those two resources in here and explain why they are important to your business and identify them as renewable and non-renewable. After that, you're going to focus on natural hazards in your area. If you go back to the locations sheet, you will see that in the last column, it shows the natural hazards that could happen in your region. And the question here is, how could the changing climate impact the success of your company? It could be natural hazards or any other hazard, which could include things like migration of people, working conditions. I have a document here that talks about Canada and climate change. So you can go through this and look at different impacts that climate change will have on features of Canada. and you can connect them back to your business. I also have examples here. So think about what your business does and then how could it be impacted. The last step is to take all of the information that you have done so far and start filling in the blanks here using the information that's on your sheet. You also will need to include things like the absolute and relative location. So that would be its latitude and longitude. And for this, you're going to go back to the closest city, and I'll give you an example. You can select that and say, what is the coordinates of, and then your location, and it will give you that information here. Um, the next thing is to start filling in the body. Again, you're using the information that you have already collected to fill in that data. For example, the climate graph, the climate region, the natural resource, and climate impacts. Um, so once you've done that, you can then build this into a formal paragraph by gathering those sentences and putting them together into a coherent paragraph. This is an example that you can use to be able to see what it is that you were to do. And this is what your final product would look like. Once you have that done, you can hit the turn in button and move on to the next steps.